Hey guys, today we're going to show you a long-term viable trickster build which does not benefit from any broken nodes or mods. This will be your go-to if you're serious about having a firepower trickster, so let's hop into the skill tree and we'll work through everything that you need to know. So firstly, welcome to Dake's Gaming. I'm Dake and I'll be taking you through this build today. I just want to shout out the creator of this build too, which is my friend Jase. He's a speedrunner for the trickster class and you can find him on Twitch as JaseManicLyfe. I'll put a link in the description below, so if you do want to check him out and subscribe to him or follow him, that would be greatly appreciated. Towards the end, there'll be an extended shout out for him and also the other people who contributed towards the build. So looking at the skill tree, on the skill tree we're going to be picking up all the close range damage nodes for 60% increased close range damage and weapon increased nodes for 24% increased weapon damage. We're picking up the 20% increased critical damage node. We're picking up Shotgun Master and Shotgun Adept for an additional 27% total shotgun damage. Unforeseen End increases weapon damage by 20% from behind. Bounty Hunter does 15% more weapon damage against elites. Cold Calculation is really important because you'll be getting 8% more weapon damage for each enemy in close range. Disruptive Firepower and Outrider Executioner will bump your weapon damage by 35% each for 8 seconds. If you time it well, you'll get both stacks for that 70% bonus. We aren't picking up any of the cooldown nodes on movement skills because it simply isn't necessary. So we've put a point into Anomaly Power to increase overall damage output. So when it comes to the skills, we're using Twisted Rounds, Hunt the Prey, and Time Rift. However, when it comes to bosses, we're going to swap out Time Rift for Venator's Knife. So let's have a look at weapons and mods. For the primary weapons, we are going to be looking at auto shotguns and pump action for our personal preference, but there are actually viable options when using SMGs and double guns as well. The Death Shield, the Evening Star, and the Funeral Pyre are all valid choices for the Time Rift variant of the build. Note that the new legendary weapon, the Evening Star, does drop in both slug and narrow variants, so there's options there for all playstyle preferences. The primary mods you should be looking for are Death Renome, Dark Sacrifice, and Fortress. According to Jase, the Evening Star frequently drops with Fortress and Dark Sacrifice as an Apocalypse mod, and was dropping pretty frequently at higher Apocalypse tiers. For the Venator's Knife variant of the build, we've been using Darkness Charmer as it rolls with Grand Opening that will proc after every single Hunt the Prey skill with Critical Point and Dark Sacrifice. This combo allows for maximum crit chances and maximum procs of Grand Opening. To get those really massive numbers, you'll need to understand the way that we are utilising the new Pax Tree nodes. So let's take a look at the Pax Tree. In order to proc maximum damage, you have to use the bottom Pax Tree when battling big single target bosses. Goals Beyond Understanding on the bottom and Rigged Game both will synergize to help us melt Arbiters at will. In mob areas with lots of mobs, the top tree setup using Quantum Entanglement will add a huge sense of crowd control to the build. This works best in areas with tons of mobs and minor elites. For boss rooms like Okriel, we take the bottom tree all the way to goals and then grab the first top tree node damaged for an extra 10% damage bonus. If you're using any type of assault rifle including SMGs, you can take the bottom tree to goals and then grab Power Overwhelming to boost that weapon by 40% of your anomaly power. So on that note, let's take a look at armor and mods. For our armor set, we're looking at running the Terminal Velocity legendary set. This comes with so many perks. Movement skills, rolling and sprinting charge you up until you see lightning warping around you. This indicator lets you know that the set bonus of 60% weapon damage is now active. As for which pieces you need, we choose the head, the pants and the boots from the Terminal Velocity. The idea being to build a set that has 0 dead mods and can be customized in ways that will fit multiple firepower playstyles. The head rolls with personal space, the boots with buckshot shells, and the pants with radiation jump. All three are absolutely necessary to the build's function and keeping your enemies at their weakest. The other mods you need to split into the two variants focus on Time Rift. So with Time Rift we're looking at Trample the Weak, 12% damage against enemies in the Time Rift, Gygus Wave for vulnerable to rifted enemies, Ammo Bargain for ammo refresh, Stare into the Barrel, Kingslayer, Sharp Eye, Anomaly Echo and Captain Hunter are the primary firepower increasing mods for this build. However, we are going to make use of Arms and Anomaly for a huge anomaly power bonus that buffs our Twisted Rounds damage numbers significantly after only a single crit shot. Instant Reload and Pain Transfer are also mandatory mods. So let's take a look at Venator's Life now. For our boss slaying variant of the build, we are swapping out Ammo Bargain, Pain Transfer and Gygus Wave. There are tons of combinations and ways to swap things around, but common items like Cannonball Gloves roll with Captain Hunter and can be easily used in the build until you find a better epic piece with the perfect attributes on them. Those being bonus firepower, status power and close range damage. The mods that we're dropping into our Venator's Knife variant are Cut 'em Deep. Enemies affected by Venator's Knife take 30% more damage, Boomerang Blades, Anomaly Cut and Dead Clock. The reasoning for this we will discuss more in the how to play section, but for now just know that we are stacking multiple damage skills and multipliers in order to maximize the chances of a big hit, triggering goals beyond understanding in the Pax Tree. So let's take a look at the Ascension Points prioritization. Early on in your grind, we recommend that you invest points into resistance first. Most anomaly based damages can shred through a trickster's shield and take you down before you realise the rifleman has you in their sights. Added resistance will keep you up and in the fight and buy you that precious time you need to take out the enemy. Once you have all the free starter pieces of terminal velocity, all of that changes significantly. The added 60% weapon damage bonus means we are killing faster and need far less defense to stay on top. Ultimately, if you want to get those big shots and melt Arbiters before breakfast, you need to take anomaly damage, damage against elites, critical damage, close range damage, weapon damage, and resistance piercing. These Ascension Points will maximize your damage output and have you wondering how you ever went down in the first place. So we need to take a look at mobbing and bossing. With mobbing, Quantum Entanglement on the top tree of the Pax nodes does some insane damage numbers throughout your Trials run, primarily for usage in Horde areas where you really need to do big area of effect damage. Quantum Entanglement many times outdid the damage Jase was getting from Pain Transfer, usually second highest damage mod for Tricksters. Combine the two and you'll get some serious crowd control and speed through Trials in order to find your optimal build solution. And then with bossing, the best setup for areas like Scorched Lands, Heart of the Wild or any other general monster maps with Horde-like mechanics is to take the bottom tree all the way to the Goals Beyond Understanding node. Then with your last point, grab the damage node from the first spot on the top tree for a flat 10% damage bonus on all enemies regardless of crit. This just maximizes your damage for those specific encounter types but keeps your goal proc around for when you hit a big brood or any other monster boss. The best setup for single target enemies like the Akari, Yagak or the Arbiters is then take the same bottom tree down to the goals node, then grab the extra crit damage up to 20% that is located above failsafe protocols. This is the Pax Tree that works best, especially when using the Venator's Knife variant of the build. So this is probably the part you've been looking forward to the most, which is how to play. For all of you returning Tricksters, the main style of this build should be quite familiar already. Time Rift, Hunt the Prey, and Twisted Rounds will function exactly the same as it did with the Trespassers set, but in this case we are going to be using the new Terminal Velocity legendary set. Movement skills, rolling, dodging, etc. will all charge up lightning around your character until you're cruising around the map like the Flash. Once that lightning effect is visible, you will have obtained the set bonus of plus 60% weapon damage. This one is huge and totally clutch for getting the big damage numbers and general DPS you're going to want out of this build. For many players this may be the only version of the build that you want to play. It can still take down Arbiters and Yagak style bosses and does not require you to play the second variant of the build, however it's way more fun if you do. The Venator's Knife variant of the build swaps out Geiger's Wave, Long Range and Ammo Bargain in exchange for Cut Them Deep, Anomaly Blades and Boomerang Blades. This will help us gain an additional 30% damage bonus against such bosses and also allow for 2 shots at double damage. Where things get really interesting here is that using Boomerang Blades we give ourselves twice the chance to have a double damage shot proc in conjunction with Goals Beyond Understanding, which again adds 50% damage on top. Do you want to hit a 225mm shot in a duo? We can do that with a pump action shotgun. Prefer to use a slug or narrow variant shotgun? It works great with both, and in fact the slug variant melts things like crazy. SMGs are a totally viable option as long as you grab the node in the Pax Tree that gives 40% damage based on your anomaly power. The base damage of double guns and SMGs is very low compared to shotguns, but this 40% extra combined with mods like Arms and Anomaly will make them a seriously viable option for you. When it comes to the Arbiter and other big bads, there is the wonderful set bonus of Phantom Dash, which is built into the Terminal Velocity set. Don't hesitate to exploit this awesome skill and phase through the Arbiter in order to snag a big crit shot to the face. The current method with the Venator's Knife variant is to hunt the prey behind the Arbiter, inflicting vulnerable status, then throwing the Venator's Knife and at the same time Phantom Dash through the Arbiter, then turning to target his face. When the Venator's Knife icon is over his head, shoot his face twice, then rinse and repeat. In an ideal proc order, you would get one face shot crit with double damage, grab one more shot, then hunt the prey again, so that you land behind him when the second boomerang blade hits. Then we are behind his back with all of our class nodes active. Unforeseen End comes into play, boosting our damage numbers. You can choose just to take a nice big easy to hit body shot, or if you're just craving a massive damage number, aim for the base of the skull where the spine meets. It's a nice little crit spot that's not too bad to catch, but it will proc some seriously high numbers in solos, duos or trios, making this Trickster Kingslayer build the best in game for Trickster, in our opinion of course. This build can run a full trials run, minus the tropes, catacombs, in about 20 minutes on Apocalypse tier 31. So now for some general tips. The only frustrating part for the Trickster can be the grind. There's a nice little trick though that will help you out and give you a nice bump in the survivability market. Starting out, we came into the game with our Trespassers set from New Horizon. We made one quick switch that almost anyone could do if you held onto some pieces of gear. Instead of using the Trespasser's glove, swap in the Trespasser's pants and keep a little bit of pain mod. For gloves, swap in the Cannonball gloves that we all know and love. The reason being is that Captain Hunter and Personal Space both roll on the gloves, and it has a touch of skill life leech to it. Now that you've made this swap, you've turned your deception skill into a damaging skill with health regen over time thanks to your skill leech. You can further bolster the survivability by stacking your Ascension Points into resistance, armor, and elite damage mitigation. All of this just for the early on grind until you get your 3 terminal velocity pieces, at which point damage goes up so high that you won't need a little bit of pain anymore. Note though that watching a little bit of pain proc pain transfer for multiplicative cross enemy damage is quite exciting to see. Mix that combo with Quantum Entanglement and its damage over time damage for days. A final note, there is still a good bit of optimization to complete the build. The pants will be upgraded so that Anomaly Echo is there and a permanent part of both variants of the build. Once that happens, we can add one more mod to the Time Rift setup, and lastly we will be grinding for a Darkness Charmer that rolls with Dark Sacrifice so that we can add Death Renome in conjunction with Grand Opening. Lastly, we will want to get epic apocalyptic gear with the same mods for chest and gloves, but with the best attributes: bonus firepower, status power and close range damage. All in due time, as Jase still has 9 more tiers to climb before reaching Apocalypse tier 40. This build was developed by Jase with ExoThermic Productions and ExoThermic Gaming. Shoutouts to RetroGalaxyZero, Oaeca, KaotikDefiance, Stahusk, and Metal Monster 90. They were all clutch in helping Jase get this build to where it is now. He also wants to shout them out specifically, but also tip his hat to Play-Doh Bear and Nick2, who have both directly or indirectly given him ideas along the way. Then finally, a big shout out to the community in my Discord. We've got a ton of amazing people in the group, and there were quite a lot of people who got involved in helping getting this build created. If you do want to find out a little bit more about the Discord yourself, there'll be the link in the description of the video, and you're more than welcome to join. Anyway, on that note, that is the end of the video. If you do have any questions at all, you can ask myself or Jase directly in the Discord, and we'll be more than happy to help you. But you can also use the comments as well. I'm pretty sure that Jase is going to be keeping on top of that. So I'll catch you very soon, and thanks again for watching. Take care. Bye bye.